What's that sound? It's For Amusement Only, the EM and Bingo Pinball Podcast.
Welcome back to For Amusement Only. This is Nick Baldridge. Tonight I wanted to talk about the next game on Bally's assembly line. That was 1952's Palm Beach. Now, Palm Beach basically brought back the features from Spotlight that were missing in Atlantic City, and it added rollover buttons. It's the first game with rollovers. And super cards. It's the first game with those. Now, the rollover buttons on this game could spot up to 5 numbers. And if you played for extra ball, you had 8 chances. So you have 13 possible numbers that could be lit on a single game out of 25. That's pretty good odds there. But as Phil Hooper says on bingo.cdyn.com, that the mixers in the game make getting this pretty hard. So the mixers, as I've talked about before, are part of the auto-portioning circuits that prevent you or allow you to earn features or odds increases and so forth in the various machines. Now, this game has advancing odds, which of course we're missing from Atlantic City. It brought those back from Spotlight. It also has pick-a-play, and this was the last game with pick-a-play for 9 years. Pick-a-play, basically went out the window. Now, pick-a-play, for those who don't remember, gives you multiple buttons on the front of the cab, and based on which button you press before you deposit your coin, the game will potentially give you a better chance at earning odds jumps, or features jumps, or both. Now, you might say, why don't you just play for both all the time? Well, those mixers are involved, and the reflex unit, which is the other portion of the auto-portioning circuit. And based on those positions and the position of something called the spotting disc, which is attached to the mixer, it'll either give you something or it won't. And you have a better chance of getting something if you play the blue button, say, to try to increase your odds, than if you were to just press the red button, which will advance everything generally. Now, this being an early game with pick-a-play, they hadn't really settled on where the buttons were located yet, or even really what their functions were. So red, I mentioned, will play for everything generally. It'll give you a chance at an increase in odds or features. Blue gives you an increase in odds only, so you don't earn any features from the blue button. Yellow is basically your feature button. Instead of being the extra ball button as it is in most other games, this one plays for features, and it can advance supercard arrows, light the corners panel, light the rollover stars, advance extra balls arrows, or spot a number. Now, one of the things that's interesting is that it can advance the extra ball unit even if you haven't played a game yet. So it's possible for you to earn an extra ball by playing the yellow button where you wouldn't normally be able to earn it, I don't believe, by just playing the red button. And once your game is over, you can play for extra ball only by pushing the green button. If you were to push the yellow button after your game is over, then it would start a new game without pushing the green first. On the left side of the coin door, you have your red button, kind of in the same position it was for Coney Island and so forth. Directly to the right of that is your blue button, which is on the left-hand side of the coin door. On the right-hand side of the coin door is your yellow button. And to the right of that, to the left of the shooter rod, is your green button. Now, the game has advancing odds, as I mentioned, up to 200 replays earned. It also has corner scoring, and you earn 200 replays for getting a ball in each of the 4 corners. Now, one thing I didn't mention, just because that would have been too easy, this game is a single card game. So it's not a 3-card game like Atlantic City or Coney Island. It's not a 6-card game like Bright Lights. It's a single card. Now, I say single card, but really it's a single card with 2 super cards. Now, the super cards light on mystery intervals, and that means that it'll randomly award you those. And when you earn them, if you get 3 in a row on the super card, it awards you your 4 in a row odds. So what's a super card? A super card is a 3x3 grid of numbers, which is arranged in a different format than, of course, the main card, which is a 5x5 grid. Now, what's interesting is these early games with advancing odds did something a little unusual. You have your 5 in a line wins, earn a certain amount of replays. Your 4 in a line, earn a certain amount of replays. But your 3 in a line, depending on the position of the line, it will award you a different amount of replays. So a 3 in a line diagonal, because that is so much harder to achieve than a 3 in a line vertical or horizontal, will award you actually more replays than the vertical or horizontal. And likewise, the vertical, being a little more difficult to achieve than the horizontal, awards you just a few more replays. I think that's genius. Because you really have to work for it in order to get a diagonal win. If you get your set, which is 2 numbers without a third, if you get your set of, say, 9 and 16, 16 being the center number of the card and 9 being the upper left corner, then you have to make the number 19 to win. Have to. If you get 21 without getting 19, then you can still win if you get 3 or 19. But if you have the set of 9 and 16, you really want to work to get 19. So, the default odds are 50 for 5 in a line, 8 for 4 in a line, 6 for 3 in a line diagonal, 4 for 3 in a line vertical, and 2 for 3 in a line horizontal. Your maximum odds are 200 for 5 in a line, 200 for 4 in a line, 128 for 3 in a line diagonal, 96 for 3 in a line vertical, and 64 for 3 in a line horizontal. Now, as you can tell, this is one of the games where your maximum odds award you the same for 4 or 5 in a line. Where this is a great benefit is when you have the super card lit, because it'll award you the 4 in a line score. But because the super cards are a 3x3 grid, or 9 numbers, it's much harder to get 3 in a line. This game has spotted numbers as well. You spot numbers in one of 2 ways. Either it's randomly awarded based on your button presses, but as I mentioned at the beginning of the show, you spot numbers by hitting the rollovers. Now, unlike many other bingos, where if you earn a feature it will light both rollovers, in this case it works kind of like the extended time tree, where it'll only light one or the other rollover. And when you hit it, it'll spot any of the following numbers: 2, 5, 15, 16, and 17. Now, having the game spot 15, 16, and 17 is very, very powerful. Speaking from a bingo player's perspective, 16, of course, being the hardest number to achieve, 17 being a good close second, at least for me, and 15 being, of course, right in that row with the 16 and the 17. So that row being in the center of the playfield is really just dreadfully hard to earn a ball in one of those holes. You have to have your plunge just right, and you have to nudge off of the posts and the dead balls as you come down, and you really have to work the machine to get it to go in 16. It takes an awful lot of skill to get it to go in there. So, having that number spotted is always super attractive to me. It makes me stand up and take notice because if you don't have to fight the machine for that number, then suddenly your chances of winning increase dramatically. So 16, since it's the center, can earn you a vertical, a diagonal, or a horizontal win. Let's talk about artwork. Now this game has a different kind of backlash from previous efforts. There's essentially a small scene at the top that's very, very detailed. There's an ocean view with the beach. Big surprise. The game's called Palm Beach after all. On the left and right sides, you see palm trees. You see boats in the background. And then you see ladies on the beach on towels. And the beach is curved around this waterfront in a very appealing way. I mean, it's a cool effect that they have on this back glass. There's a lady on the left who is hitting a ball up in the air, and your eye is drawn to Palm Beach, which of course is the title, but it is arranged in kind of a semicircle that dips down into the foam of the waves crashing on the sand. It's pretty cool. It's like a fisheye effect. Now the artist chose pink or purple to symbolize the 5 in a line wins, orange for the 4 in a line, and blue, yellow, or red for the 3 in a line wins. The bingo card itself has yellow fielded numbers that are actually written in blue on a dark blue background with a pink border surrounding them. The replay register and the corners are bordered by pink, and the corner score is white on dark blue. The super cards to left and right are kind of the main feature that your eyes are drawn to. This is the first game with that feature, and so of course they wanted people to be aware of them. There are arrows which are in kind of a darker blue than the background light blue, with teaser arrows inside pointing to the word supercard, and of course supercard lights when the teaser arrows step all the way up. The supercards are dark blue with a red border. They stand out quite a bit. The numbers themselves are on a field of white, and they're written in dark blue, the same dark blue that's in the background. Below the supercards, there's a red star and a yellow star, and those symbolize the rollovers, which are lit on the playfield. And remember, only one lights at a time. And then below that, you have extra balls. And this is one of those games that has all the teaser arrows that step up and point to first extra ball, second extra ball, or third extra ball. So instead of lighting second and then extra and then finally ball when you earn it, like on a Magic Screen game, this game shows you first extra ball, second extra ball, and third extra ball just in an orange oval down at the bottom, and above them are the teaser arrows that will light one at a time until it awards you the extra ball. Now, extra balls and the teaser arrows are yellow on a field of darker blue than the light blue of the background. And as I mentioned before, the ovals that contain the text first extra ball and so forth are orange with white writing. Now, the cabinet has a very attractive beach stencil, and there's a palm tree, or 2 or 3, which extend from the cabinet all the way up through the head. And you have a line of palm trees in the background. You have a beach in the foreground with the ocean and clouds and so forth in the sky. Again, very beautiful. If you look at it from a distance, you can really see what the artist's intent was, and that's likely to give you the illusion of perspective here, that you're looking on the beach, you're approaching it from far away. And in the foreground, you have some palm trees, and as you get closer, you'll see the towels spread out on the beach and so forth. And of course, all that's in the stencil. I've mentioned before how beautiful the stencils are for bingo cabinets, and I am 100% serious. The stencils on bingo cabs put many other games to shame. I'm at a loss at the moment for something which is even comparable in the flipper world, but the bingo cabs are just beautiful. Multiple colors, and the way that the stencils are laid out, it's just gorgeous. The playfield, we inexplicably move from the beach to a pool, which I assume is some distance away from the beach. There are multiple ladies hanging out at the pool, and there's some in the water and some on the shore there of the pool. Down at the bottom, you have a palm tree, which encompasses 23, 24, 25, and the ball return hole. On the left and right side of the playfield, you have huge white circles that contain the stars for the rollovers. Red on the left, yellow on the right. And up at the top, above the pool, you have kind of a resort scene with more palm trees in the background. And of course, more great perspective here. It's like you're looking down almost from up within a palm tree onto this scene, which leads to some questions, actually. But at any rate, now, before I let you go, a technical note here. As Phil documents on his site, again, bingo.cdyn.com, which is really the place that you need to go if you are thinking about fixing one of these machines for reference material, as well as images of the machines and schematics and manuals, all that good stuff. Phil's site is the best. Palm Beach actually underwent significant design changes during the production run. The early machines used a ball counter which stepped up or stepped down as balls were lifted up to the playfield or fell through the ball return. Later machines removed the ball counter unit and replaced it with the trough switch design that was used on the following bingos. So I've talked at length about the trough switches before in bingos and how great of a design I think they are. Well, the same can't be said of these earlier machines with the ball counter unit. The problem with this is that your whole machine requires precise timing in order to function, especially games with an extra ball feature. Well, if that unit is just constantly moving, then it's going to have mechanical problems eventually. So, that's not the best. The trough switches are a much more elegant solution to that problem, I think, because there's no reliance on a unit functioning properly with multiple solenoids and a spider. It's just leaf switches, a whole row of them, and when the ball's at rest, it's going to be closing certain switches, and when it's not, those switches will be open. It's pretty straightforward. You can't get much simpler than that. That's all for tonight. Thank you very much for joining me. My name again is Nick Baldridge. You can reach me at foramusementonlypodcast@gmail.com, or you can call me on the Bingos line. That's 724-BINGOS1, 724-246-4671. You can listen to us on iTunes, Stitcher, Pocket Cast, via RSS, on Facebook, on Twitter at Bingo Podcast. You can follow me on Instagram at Bingo Podcast, or you can listen to us on our website, which is foramusementonly.libsyn.com. Thank you very much for listening, and I'll talk to you next time.